If all you do is stare at the computer, even a newbie could handle it. Just how incompetent of an employee are you? That's it, I'll suggest your dismissal.
Huh? Dismissal even though I handle the entire company's system single-handedly?
Oh, absolutely. Slacking off during remote work is grounds for dismissal. You thief of a salary.
Disgusted, I couldn't care less anymore. Something snapped in my head after hearing all of this. Understood. I'll resign. And thus, the section chief would soon witness hell. My name is Nancy. I'm a single OL who has finally crossed into the 30s, amidst the vibrant world of office life. However, I'm a bit different from the average OL. I'm responsible for managing the company's systems all by myself. In other words, without me, the company's systems wouldn't function. The reason I got interested in computers in the first place was due to the influence of an anime I watched during reruns as a child. It featured a secret base hidden in a sandstorm with a large computer that controlled the world's peace, along with the protagonist and 3 sidekicks. I was captivated by that large computer with its blinking lights. I wanted a big computer like that too, and I thought about begging my parents for one, but I realized that it wouldn't fit in our 2DK apartment back then, given its size. In order to pursue my dreams, I enrolled in a computer vocational school after graduating from high school. Despite managing to graduate, landing a job at a major company with just a vocational school diploma was out of reach. After numerous visits, I finally secured a position at this company, which dealt with mid-sized clothing brands. Due to my background in computer studies, I was assigned to the system department. At that time, the system department comprised several engineers who had graduated from universities or vocational schools, responsible for managing and operating the systems. However, as times changed and computers underwent dramatic evolution, the need for as many personnel diminished. Consequently, the company underwent restructuring in the system department, and eventually, I was the only one left. Eventually, the system department was dissolved, and I became a member of the General Affairs section in the General Affairs department. One day, the head of the General Affairs section decided to retire due to family reasons and take over the family business. The new head of the General Affairs section was Jason, who had been promoted from the sales section. He was in his early 50s and believed in hard work and perseverance as the keys to success. He had a habit of saying phrases like,
"Back in my day,"
and
"Young folks these days are,"
on various occasions. He seemed like a survivor of the passionate Japanese salaryman from the old days. Well, since the General Affairs department was a safe and stable division, I didn't expect any major issues. Plus, my job involved system management, so a field that the new head, with his limited computer knowledge, wouldn't interfere with. So, I felt reassured. However, that was too naive. When I greeted him, the section chief, Jason, muttered,
"Can a woman handle this job alone?"
I retorted inwardly. Don't underestimate me just because I'm a woman. Of course, I kept that to myself. In our company, due to the emergency declaration caused by the virus, a remote work system was implemented to enable work from home. However, since the general affairs tasks are somewhat inconvenient to handle remotely, it was decided that one person must come to the office on rotation. Despite that, unrelated to this, I was assigned to come to the office separately from other employees for system-related tasks once a week. One day, my scheduled office day coincided with the section chief's. I was in the machine room, checking the system's status while looking at the monitor screen.
So this is a computer. Surprisingly small, isn't it?
I heard a voice from behind. Oh, good morning, Mr. Jason.
Good morning. But this room is so cold, isn't it? Isn't the air conditioning too strong? You're the only one here, right?
The air conditioning in this room isn't for humans, it's for these machines. Computers have many heat-generating components, so they need constant cooling to prevent overheating.
But if you stop the machines, you won't need the air conditioning, right?
That's true, but the machines here operate 24/7, 365 days a year, so it's not that simple.
Isn't that wasteful? Nobody's using them at night, right?
His words irritated me. It's not wasteful, it's necessary.
Electricity bills are high nowadays. At least try to cooperate with energy saving by raising the set temperature or something.
But that's not feasible. Besides, the air conditioner here is old, so it needs to run at full capacity to be effective. I'll do my best to address that. It's unsettling how the section chief's outdated thinking is affecting things here. Gradually, a sense of unease started to grow within me. After Jason became the section chief, it was decided to conduct individual interviews at his behest. He expressed a desire to speak with each of us individually, which, of course, would also be part of our performance evaluations. Since the interviews were conducted using a video conferencing system, I made sure to dress appropriately from the waist up, but I remained in my sweatpants below the camera view. I also applied a bit of makeup. Alright, this should be fine, I thought as the time for the interview arrived and the section chief appeared on the screen. Good morning, Chief, I greeted.
Ah, good morning. I feel relieved to see you dressed properly. There are idiots who try to do interviews in their pajamas or sweatpants sometimes. I intend to lower the evaluations of those types,
the chief remarked. Oh, I should have hidden my lower half.
Now then, you work remotely more than other employees, but are you really getting your work done? I've just taken up this position, so I don't know about your performance,
the chief inquired. Well, yes. My work is mostly computer-based, so remote work isn't an issue for me. During remote work, I monitor systems, schedule tasks, manage equipment, and provide assistance to colleagues as needed, I explained.
I see. I'm not doubting you, but are you really doing your job properly? Do you have any tangible results?
The chief pressed. Yes. You're definitely suspicious. When it comes to the results of my work, it would mean that the company's systems are functioning properly, I responded. The chief nodded thoughtfully.
I see. However, from my perspective, and forgive me for being blunt, I don't think your job is that important.
He smirked and continued.
Actually, the current tasks could be handled by a female employee alone. I mean no offense, but I don't see the need for dedicated personnel.
He's been saying, I mean no offense, over and over, but he's truly offensive. Besides, gender has nothing to do with system management. Wait a minute. Are you saying I have no value? I interjected.
Well, based on my judgment, it's hard to say otherwise,
the chief replied. I take pride in doing work that matches my salary, even during remote work, I insisted.
Work always yields results, right?
The chief remarked. Exactly. So, ensuring the systems operate smoothly is like the result of my work, I explained.
The proper functioning of computers is expected. Why is maintenance always necessary? Even cars only need inspection every 2 years, right?
The chief countered. Cars and systems are completely different. Don't you understand the importance of system management? I couldn't help but stand up in excitement.
Impressive words, but they lack conviction when you're dressed in those sweatpants.
Oops. He saw my lower half.
If you're so confident, try documenting your job. If you can do that, I'll consider it as tangible results.
Understood. I'll create an excellent manual covering all aspects of the company's systems.
Oh, it doesn't have to be complicated. Just outline the procedures. That way, anyone can do your job.
Wait, does that mean I'm not needed? I inadvertently found myself at a loss for words, and the chief seemed to interpret it as agreement.
All right, then that settles it. I'll leave it to you.
And with a click, the screen went blank. Phew, that was exhausting. I sighed, feeling defeated. That night, I was drinking whiskey alone, nibbling on my favorite crackers. It was quite a modest drinking party. Sigh. Only sighs escaped me. At that moment, drawn by the smell of crackers, my loyal 3 servants approached. I gave them commands. Lopros, take to the sky. Meow. Poseidon, head to the sea. Meow. Rotom, transform. Meow. You guys are good at responding, huh? How about saving your master from danger? While petting my servants who were enjoying their share of crackers as a reward, I pondered my future. Well, que sera sera. As the old saying goes, life has its ups and downs. I gulped down the remaining whiskey. I was tasked with selecting the model of tablet to be used for sales purposes at the company. While it was for sales, I believed it needed to have enough performance to connect to the internal system for tasks like attendance management and expense reporting. However, when I proposed this to my section chief, he rebuked.
Not necessary. Not necessary. It seems like you're choosing based on your preferences. Don't you think about cutting expenses if you're considering the company?
It seemed for him, cutting expenses mattered more than efficiency. Understood. I will reconsider. I replied.
Of course.
He said.
If we can reduce expenses here, it will improve my evaluation. Absolutely follow my instructions.
Prioritizing one's own evaluation over streamlining company operations. Oh well, it can't be helped. I headed into town on a Saturday off, aiming to find a cheap tablet and try it out in person. Not bad at all. But the price is quite something. I thought. Good things come at a high price. The attractive ones always seem to correlate with the performance and the price tag. The section chief always demands the impossible. I guess I'll have to compromise and just consider the price. I concluded. Eventually, that was the verdict, and I started heading back towards the station. On the way, I passed by a flashy sign for Hooters. It seemed like this city had quite a few of these establishments now. As I watched, the door opened, and a couple came out, a provocatively dressed lady and a man. The lady in the daring attire said,
"Well then, darling. See you soon. Come back real soon, okay?"
With a wave, she bid farewell, and the man replied,
Yeah, I'll definitely come back. Can't have you forgetting about me.
The customer also said goodbye before they parted ways. Oh wow. Darling? What's that all about? Are they playing couple or something? But wait, that customer's voice sounds familiar. And when I looked at their face, it hit me. Hey, was it Jason, the section chief? I stood there in shock, and then he called out. Oops. He's coming here. Without thinking, I turned away from the section chief and headed towards a nearby stall, placing a random order and ending up with a piping hot gratin. Somehow, I managed to avoid the section chief. I hurriedly took refuge on a bench in the park and started eating the gratin. This gratin is delicious. I mused as I savored my favorite dish, recalling the scene I had just witnessed. So, the section chief. He's into Hooters, huh? And being called, darling, made him look completely flustered. Well, I guess everyone has their own preferences, no point in judging. With that, I took another bite of the remaining cheese and got up from my seat. I was worried that I might burst into laughter if I saw Jason's face and didn't know what to do, but fortunately, we didn't have any chance encounters, so I just went about my work as usual. However, one day while working remotely, I noticed a discrepancy in the inventory management of the computers slated for disposal. The number of laptops didn't match between the end of last month inventory and the end of this month inventory. Well, they were quite old models and slated for disposal, so it wasn't something to worry about too much. But since there were disposal costs associated with these computers, I had to claim expenses for the quantity, and the amount didn't match the actual disposal fees. More than anything, the mismatch in the number of disposed computers bothered me. Then, one day, I was browsing through an online auction. As I lazily scrolled through the listings of computers, one caught my eye. Oh, this is the same as the one we used at the company before, I thought. The description read. Description: it's an old model but has been tested and works fine. It's ready to use right away. I see, despite some signs of use, it's quite a bargain. The seller's name was Jay. A name like a movie protagonist. Jay? I was a bit curious, so I checked out this person's listings. They had listed several used computers, all of the same model. Something seems fishy, I thought. Feeling intrigued, I bookmarked the listing for further investigation. The relationship between my section chief and me remained as contentious as ever, and his attitude towards me became increasingly strict. He pressed me to explain in detail the work I was doing while telecommuting.
What's this work report? You're just browsing the net and watching videos most of the time during telecommuting, aren't you?
Internet searches are part of my job for research purposes, and videos serve as reference materials. You can verify which sites I visited through the browsing history.
Work is about delivering results. That's what counts as achievements and leads to evaluation. Without any tangible results, it means you're not working, not worthy of evaluation.
Well, my job is to ensure the smooth operation of the system. I've explained this multiple times, haven't I?
So, if the system runs smoothly, you're not working, right?
How do you come to that conclusion? This section chief simply doesn't understand my job.
Telecommuting is just an excuse to slack off beyond my supervision. What exactly do you do while telecommuting?
I'm responsible for managing the company's systems, maintaining them, and handling any issues.
HMPH, even a rookie can stare at a computer. Really, how incompetent can an employee be? Anyway, I've had enough. I'll suggest your dismissal.
Dismissal even though I handle all the company's systems single-handedly?
Of course. Slacking off during telecommuting equals getting fired. You're just stealing a salary.
I'm exasperated. I don't care anymore. Something snapped in my head after being pushed this far. Fine. I can't work with you anymore. I'll resign as you wish. Don't come crying back to me later. Even though the 21st century is nearing its 4th decade, there are still primitive-minded people like him surviving.
Finally made up your mind, huh? Do as you please. I feel relieved now.
With that, the screen went blank. He should learn the struggles of system management. I couldn't contain my anger and impulsively threw the cat's toy I had nearby. Feeling exhausted, I brewed some coffee and returned to my computer, only to receive a call from the department head during a video conference. Oh, yes. This is Nancy.
Sorry to disturb you while you're busy. Is it okay to talk now?
Yes, it's fine. What can I help you with?
So, I was just talking with Jason, the section chief. He mentioned that you're considering leaving the company, and I wanted to have a chat about it.
It's about the earlier conversation. The department head must be struggling with Jason too.
I may be old-fashioned as well, but I believe I understand the company's systems and your job managing them. However, he insists he can't comprehend your work, and accuses you of slacking off during telecommuting. It's quite troublesome.
It's not a laughing matter. But I've reached my limit. Being called a slacker and a salary thief, I just can't continue working like this.
Well, try to calm down a bit. I'm also troubled by this. I intend to address this issue seriously.
No, I've already decided to resign.
Well, could you just calm down and listen to what I have to say?
It's too late for that. My decision is final. With my anger evident, the department head smiled wryly.
Actually, I have something in mind. Will you hear me out?
Come to think of it, I have something to report too.
Is it about Jason, the section chief?
As expected. You're quite perceptive.
Figured you'd know.
The department head and I shared a knowing smile through the screen. He's been my superior since I joined the systems department, and despite the age gap, we get along well. After sorting things out with the department head, I agreed to come into the office on the last day of the month.
Alright then. You'll come into the office as planned on your last day?
Yes, Jason is scheduled to be in the office that day too. And so came the last day of the month. When the section chief spotted me at the office, he approached with a smirk.
Make sure your desk is tidy. A departing bird should leave no trace, you know.
Yes, understood.
Good morning. It's good that you two are here together.
Oh, good morning, sir. The department head winked at me as I greeted him. He seems quite cheerful.
Jason, you've probably known already, but Nancy is leaving the company. It's regrettable for the company, but her decision is firm.
Yes, indeed. Since she wants to leave, there's nothing we can do.
The section chief nodded along with the department head, rubbing his hands together.
Now, it's unfortunate that Nancy is leaving, but I'm thinking of making some organizational changes.
The section chief tilted his head at the department head's words.
Organizational changes? Isn't it a bit too much for Nancy's resignation?
You think so? This matter is quite significant.
With that, the department head began to read from the document he held.
Starting next month, we'll establish a systems department within the General Affairs Department. We're planning to assign new recruits as members under the head of this department.
A new recruit as the head? But a systems department is unnecessary. They'll just slack off and steal salaries anyway.
No. If anyone's a thief, wouldn't it be you?
Huh? I don't understand what you're implying.
The section chief was clearly unsettled. Ignoring the section chief, the department head gave me the go-ahead.
Nancy, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Well then, section chief, did you know that recently, some computers slated for disposal have gone missing?
I didn't know anything about that.
Since disposing of electronic equipment like computers incurs disposal costs, you properly billed the expenses to the department, right?
Yeah. I should have taken care of that already.
Well, the quantity I billed for and the actual quantity disposed of don't match.
So what's the big deal?
That means only a fewer number of computers have been disposed of than the amount allocated by the company. I find this suspicious.
That's, a mistake on the computer's part. It's not a reliable system, so it's bound to have errors like that.
Oh, really? Well, I happen to be the one who designed that unreliable system.
The department head responded with a smirk. The section chief froze with his mouth agape.
Nancy, please continue.
The department head instructed. Yes. So, the discrepancy amounts to about $2,000. This amount seems to be missing. Additionally, regarding the missing computers, I found out that the same models have been listed on an online auction site. So, I purchased one to investigate. Upon inspection, the license number matched our company's records, confirming that these were indeed the company's discarded computers. Interestingly, the seller goes by the name, J.
Jay? What in the world?
The department head burst into laughter.
Wait, it wasn't me.
Indeed, the shipping address wasn't the section chief's. It belonged to someone else.
And who might that be?
The department head inquired, already knowing the outcome and grinning. That person turned out to be a college student working part-time at Hooters. Apparently, she was entrusted with computers by regular customers and instructed to ship them to designated recipients.
I see. And what was the name of this customer?
She received a business card, and the name on it was. There was an audible gulp from the section chief. Jason. At Hooters, he went by the name, Darling. Jason's shoulders slumped in defeat.
So, Jason, do you have anything to say?
The department head asked.
No,
Well, technically, this could be considered theft and embezzlement. This is a serious crime.
The department head remarked.
I apologize.
The section chief mumbled.
One more thing. What did you do with the money you made?
The department head inquired.
Well,
The section chief faltered, so I answered in his place. It seems he spent it on his favorite girl at Hooters. The college student mentioned earlier was his favorite, and he was quite fond of her.
grr.
It was all over for him.
Now, Jason, are you willing to admit to your wrongdoing?
The department head asked.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Well, if I wanted, I could report this to the police. But considering the company's reputation and if you can compensate for the damages, I might let it slide.
The department head said.
Yes, of course. Please, have mercy.
The section chief pleaded.
In that case, we'll demote you from your position as section chief and reduce your salary for about 6 months. Forget about any bonuses. Is that too lenient?
The department head gestured towards me, and I shrugged and nodded slightly. As a result of this incident, Jason was demoted from section chief to a regular employee and faced a 6-month pay cut. The next day, I went to the office as instructed and headed to the department head's office. There, I received my appointment letter. System Division Chief Nancy. Yes. I had intended to resign at the end of last month, but thanks to the department head's arrangement, I underwent a transfer instead of resignation. In other words, I was promoted from a general employee in the General Affairs Department to the newly established System Division Chief.
Well, Nancy. I'm counting on you as the chief.
Ah, even though you call me chief, it doesn't quite feel real. It's just me, after all.
No. Since it's the system division, you'll have subordinates. They should be arriving soon.
Just then, there was a knock on the door, and someone entered, apologizing. Section Chief Jason. I mean, Mr. Jason.
What? Nancy, what are you doing here?
Hey. Hey! You shouldn't speak to your superior like that.
Huh?
The department head smirked and explained.
Nancy resigned yesterday, but as of today, she has been appointed as the new chief of the system division. And you'll be reporting to her.
Huh?
Huh? Reluctantly, I found myself in sync with Mr. Jason.
What the hell is this?
Mr. Jason's scream echoed in the office.
Well, I said Nancy would be the new chief of the newly established system division. And you'd be her subordinate.
Sir, are you serious? Mr. Jason was my boss until last month.
Exactly. I'll strongly protest against such malicious personnel decisions.
I see. Well, in that case, there's no other choice. If Jason feels like he has no place in this company anymore, then that's fine, I suppose.
With a flushed face, Mr. Jason said.
I have my pride too. I can't accept such personnel decisions. I decline this company's offer.
It's a shame. Even though we let you stay in the company out of kindness. All right. I understand. I'll agree with your opinion. That's fine.
That's fine. Excuse me then.
With a rough sound of the door, Mr. Jason left. And Mr. Jason left the company. As a result of this incident, he ended up being dismissed. Now, Mr. Jason won't be able to go to his beloved Hooters anymore. Well, finding a new job should be the top priority, but at his age, it might not be so easy, right? I don't care, though. I've heard rumors that he blew through his savings and his wife found out. Maybe his personal life is in trouble too? I don't care, though. I became the chief of the system division, and while the nature of my work hasn't changed much, the process for applications now goes directly to the department head, making my job a bit easier. By the way, it seems the General Affairs Division Chief is also held by the department head. Today, I was at the office on a day off for machine maintenance. Now that I'm the chief, I sat in a slightly elevated chair, checking the progress of the maintenance. Come to think of it, I haven't been back home for a while. Maybe it's time for a visit to show filial piety. As I pondered this, I realized I was drifting off. No, I need to focus on work. I turned back to the monitor and started checking the numbers. I do love computers, after all. As the fulfilling days returned, I couldn't help but feel a sense of happiness.